what did we? Oh, so Obi-Wan. We talked about episodes 1 and 2 last week. I feel like this is going to be a very interesting subject because I was very high and very positive on episodes 1 and 2. Not to give it away, but to an extent, I'm a little bit in the opposite direction for episodes 3 and 4. Did you, or do you just want to talk about 3 first? Go into that one.
We can do it either way. We can group them together or just take them individually. I mean, I would say
Group them together.
overall I am similar to your sentiment. Here's the thing: I wasn't blown away with the first 2 episodes, but I thought it was a good start.
I
Like
thought they did what they needed to do.
it was inoffensive. Like I didn't see the only
Yeah.
major issue I had was that canon issue with Leia now knowing who Obi-Wan is before the
If you
message.
had that issue, that last couple episodes
Yeah.
open up so much more of that.
Yeah. And here's the thing, I'm usually pretty forgiving about little things like that. I'm not the biggest nitpicker in the world, but there's just some things you do need to get right. And that's not like it was a small moment, like go back to the original trilogy in that first movie, that whole message was a major component of like the first third of the movie, and you hear it
Hmm.
so many times. It's not like some weird throwaway line in the lore. It was very specific, making it seem like Leia had never heard of this dude before, except through his relationship with her father. So I don't like that. But once again, setting that aside, yeah, I still don't hate this show by any means, but I'm still, I would say I'm more lukewarm on it than I was before. It's just feeling kind of meh overall.
Uh, I would. It's hard to explain my thoughts on it. These last few episodes, I very much liked portions of them, but I don't know what happened. But like for me, the writing in episodes, both episodes, but I would say 4 in particular, the writing feels like totally written by somebody else. Like some of the dialogue in 4 and 3 is just like totally off. I don't know what it. I'm not quite sure exactly what they were going for. Like, there's so many outlandish things that happen in episode 4, particularly.
Mm.
It's just like I was like almost the scene where they're walking out in the trench coat with Leia
I
under.
know.
I was laughing
That's
like
this. It was
that was almost one of
terrible.
the. It was one of the most ridiculous things I think they could have done, and it's like really, and none of these like 1,000 soldiers around
That
you noticed
plan should
this.
have never worked. Like, I mean, I'm definitely all for, suspension of belief kind of thing and, letting things
That was
play out.
awful.
But yeah, like, nothing they did, I felt like, should have worked. Especially because, like, Obi-Wan clearly is not at his peak, Jedi-ness. He is kind of
Hmm.
shaky. He's unsure of himself. He's freaked out about Vader, all that kind of stuff. So to think that pretty much he could, pull off this plan effectively is already kind of sketchy. Um,
I was like freaking out that they were that they were at their plan, or the fact that they were like succeeding in their plan,
mhm.
because at first I thought like that was Vader's like home. I was like, how
He's
did
in
you
the
just
same
walk into.
system. He's not
He's in the same
on.
system,
He's
but he
not
wasn't.
in his lair.
I thought he was in that building
No,
though the whole
but
time, and I
still,
was
it's like
like,
freaking like home base. Like, I'm sure some people are going to defend this and be like, "Well, that's what it was like when they snuck into the Death Star." But they encounter more opposition on the Death Star, and I think we're sneakier about certain things. Like this, they should have been caught 3 or 4 times. And honestly, I
when
thought the first time I was like, "Okay, good. She's going to have a problem here, and she have to figure out how to deal with it." And she's like, "Nope, I'm your commanding officer." And he's like, "Okay," and
that
he's
was fine. That first
I don't
part I
know.
thought was fine.
I didn't like that. And then they tried to do it again. And then she just, judo chopped the guy in the back. And I don't know.
Mike Myers and you know.
Yeah. I'm just like, really? Okay.
I thought it was told like when she walks up to the desk table
Mm.
and she literally next to another trooper or next to like some guy and she's like,
Obi-Wan. Oh,
Obi-Wan,
yeah.
where are I made it in. They didn't
In a
notice a
room that's
thing.
completely silent.
In a room
Um,
that's completely silent and the soldier goes,
I
what are
know.
you saying over there? I
Like,
was like,
she escaped from like 3 or 4 situations that was too
uh
much. And then getting away from the Inquisitor outright. Like, oh,
yeah.
no.
And
But,
it's
we're,
like,
we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to 3 if we're going to start talking details.
oh yeah, yeah. All right.
Because
So I don't know.
3, I think, I mean, I have issues with both, but 3, I think, rubbed me the wrong
Was
way
this
a lot of ways.
3 I felt like was a decent episode up until the end. I felt like everything before that was okay, but then and actually at the end there were cool parts, but I feel like they blew it. I
I
feel like.
feel like this episode, and this is where the writing I think did not work for me. Everything felt really, really forced. So I first had a problem when Obi-Wan slipped up and it was like Leia, and there was like, you said her name was whatever. Like, really? Obi-Wan was gonna make that mistake? And once again, I know we just talked
Yeah.
about he's not at his peak Jedi performance level, but at the same time, like that just doesn't seem like a mistake that Obi-Wan makes, especially one who's trying to be super careful, super whatever. And you could
Hmm.
say he was caught off guard or whatnot, but that seemed like a stupid error. So I didn't like that. I did not like that Freck. That was the name Freck, right? The alien
Correct.
driver.
Yeah. Hmm.
I did
That was
not.
voiced by some famous actor.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know that, and that actually makes more sense to what I'm about to comment on. I hated that he spoke with a human dialect, or basically, straight
Yeah.
up spoke English. Like, and I know there's precedent for that in Star Wars. Like, plenty of aliens do that, but usually they're ones that either
I'm looking
seem a
it
little
up
more
right now.
humanoid or something like that. I don't know. The fact that he not only
It
spoke
was
English.
Zach Braff.
Oh, I know Zebra. That's the one from
Was he
Scrubs.
Scrubs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can kind of hear that, but now I
But
get why they
I
left his
heard his
voice in.
voice and I was like, that sounds like an actor, like immediately.
I just didn't like it. Maybe I'm being real. Maybe I am being nitpicky right here, but like when you do hear other aliens in the Star Wars universe speak a human dialect,
Hmm.
which I mean I'm referring to English in this case, they at least still sound kind of alien or foreign about it. This guy's just like, "Hey Obi-Wan, my name's Freck." Like
Hmm.
it was goofy, and I'm sure that's what they were going for, but it just didn't fit to me. Like this guy should have sounded like an alien or spoken the language that they could translate. I don't know. I didn't like that. Granted,
Like
nitpicky, but
prequels or not, a lot of those movies though had like totally different languages and they totally different
we had
planets
like
and culture.
Watto who went back and forth. Watto would speak English in kind of his weird broken, accent, and then he'd speak.
Wanda.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
made the world or the universe feel big. This shrinks it because everybody just speaks English. I know that's not how they've done every alien, and it's maybe
Forgot
just this one.
B-roll. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead. Keep
But
going.
yeah, that just rubbed me the wrong way. But once again, that's nitpicky. I could have let that go. Then you get to what is it? The checkpoint wwhere they were trying to get through.
Checkpoint.
And this is another small nitpicky thing.
The
Like
one that Obi-Wan could have just jumped off
stepped
of the
over,
back while he was moving it and then
threw
walked
her over
around
and
it.
flipped or walked around. Like, why was that a big deal? Um, and then you get towards the end. I know I'm skipping a ways now, but the fact that what's the lady's name they pair up with? The fake
Oh,
Empire.
I don't remember. I know she was from Game of Thrones. She was one of
Yeah.
the Sand Snake people.
Well, when they meet her character, then he's like, "Hey, get Leia out of here while I go, deal with this issue with Vader." And then
That
she
was so
just straight up just like, "All right, kid, good luck." Like you're
yeah.
gonna go back to help the Jedi who is trained in combat, who really should be handling that situation, and you're gonna let this
There were
defenseless little 10-year-old just
sorry.
run off.
There were so many problems with those decisions at the end. I just like
And
it was it sucked because or sorry, good.
no, well, that's what I mean. Like everything felt forced. Like they were trying to
Hmm.
set up a moment. Nothing felt natural about it. It was like, let's make this character make a dumb decision so we can make this interaction happen or this get here. And that's not smart writing. Like they could have done it in a more natural way to where things happened and forced characters together, not something like this that, just feels really contrived.
Well, it really sucks because like the scene before that is one of the best scenes in the show so far. Like the way they treated Vader's initial opening when he first turns the corner and like
Mm-hmm.
Vader's Vader, man. He's brutal. He wants what he wants, and like, he's sitting there like playing with the citizen civilians and killing them. He knows that Obi-Wan is somewhere in the vicinity watching. I'm sure he can sense him or something. So he's doing things to like antagonize him, he's trying to make his goodiness, trying to
His
get him to
goodiness.
like
Oh, not his
he's
goodies. No,
he's trying to get
sorry.
him to he's trying to get him to show himself, and
Mm-hmm.
he's intentionally killing these people brutally. And it's like, yes, that's Vader. That's and they got James Earl Jones, which immediately as I was like, or
Yeah.
is it James Earl Jones? I know
Yep.
it's yeah James Earl. Yeah. And immediately I was like, yes, this is perfect. This is what I want.
Yeah.
And they immediately messed that up, like you said, when they like split up and like there was just so many inconsistencies. It was like, how did Riva get ahead of them all the way in the tunnel and get to the opposite end before?
Yeah, the tunnel
I
system didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I can assume that, there's branching paths in there, but yeah, like it's really hard to, logistically think that through in that time frame and just, yeah, it doesn't play
Mhm.
out well.
And
Um,
then, or sorry,
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say the whole battle between Obi-Wan
That's where I
and
was going.
Vader the whole time. Like,
I said it
I
last
actually,
week. I didn't want to see them confront just yet. Like you could have teased Vader, like him walking down, or like seeing Obi Wan across the way or something. I feel like for one, they kind of wasted their hand here, having them confront each other. I know there's still more they can do, but I didn't like that. It's still, and the way
I
that they
just,
handled it, like Obi Wan
yeah,
just kind
that's
of
what I was gonna
runs
say.
off all goofy. I don't
It
know.
was more annoying that like I was okay with that happening. I hated that like they made it into like a crappy battle, and there was no back and forth between these like age
If
old
it feels
enemies.
wasted. That's why I mean, like, so not only did they, I think, do it too soon, they didn't do it well. So now
No,
that
that's more
moment,
important in my opinion.
yeah, and that moment is kind of lost now. Man, you know they're gonna have more interactions as they go through the show and they'll flesh it out. But
There's only 2 episodes left in this.
really, there's only
Yeah,
two.
I think there's only 6 episodes, and
Wow.
we double check. I thought I heard that.
You might be right. I thought there was at least like an 8 episode run, and we were like halfway through. Because that's actually really disappointing. Because I don't feel like they can do too much more. Um, I don't know. But I guess I didn't like the
That's what I
confrontation.
heard. I don't know,
Well, you
but
might be
whatever.
right. I didn't like that. Okay, so the fire thing. Like, so he puts out the fire with one force blast when he wants to, or when he's trying to show off his power. And then when they cause that extra little fire explosion, he
He
can't do
couldn't
it
put it
again.
out.
Yeah, he's just like, oh no, now this fire is going to prevent me from getting over.
Or Vader couldn't lift himself over the fire to the other side, or
Like, once again,
speed
it
run,
felt
like,
super contrived and it didn't make sense. Like, you give
or
that.
he couldn't just point his hand at Obi and just float him back towards him.
Right.
Like,
With this super slow moving droid that took like 8 minutes to pick him up. It was like, I'm not one who's going to pick him, think of, 100 different other ways they could have done something like, you and me both have a friend that he hates situations in movies because, like, well, that could have happened and this could have happened. And
yeah,
I don't like doing that because you could always think of, another alternative to solve a problem. But when it's this blatant and like clearly there were like 5 other things that could have happened that would have made more
yes,
sense, then I do take an issue with it. I'm not
there
looking
are
for
indeed
some,
six episodes for this season. Just so you
man.
know.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think episode 3 is when it started to dip for me. It's not like I straight up hated everything, but I started seeing a lot of the chinks in the writing, the contrivances, and then going into 4 it just kind of continues that
I was
process.
hoping that like as Vader was getting like the burning was fine, like that made sense. He's trying to like put Obi-Wan through what he put him through, and
Mm-hmm.
his hate, that's fine. And I was kind of hoping when she was on the hill and shot, I was hoping she was going to take a shot at Vader, and he would have like instinctually just been like and caught the shot or something, and maybe that distracted him or something. Like I was hoping they would do that, but like you said, there were just so many like incongruities, or I don't know if I'd say that right, but like it didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many other cool decisions they could have done, and it just felt like somebody who like I don't know. I also feel like the problem is like knowing how powerful and how cool some of these characters are in the prequels. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
these like Obi-Wan in the first one is like flipping around doing backflips everywhere, and it's
I
like,
know he's, old and out of it. We've mentioned that. But there has to be a point in this show where he comes back to being Obi-Wan. And I feel like we're
hmm
not going to get that, or at least not a big build up to it. Like, if it's only 6 episodes, then I don't know. There's not a lot of time for him to really do a whole lot. So, I don't know. It's starting to feel very wasted overall. Like,
I
nothing.
agree. I
Here's
agree.
the other thing I don't like about it. And this kind of just, it's my issue with this whole storyline. It all feels like there's no stakes. Because here's the thing: we know nothing's going to happen to Vader, we know nothing's going to happen to Leia, and we know nothing's going to happen to Obi Wan. They're all going to be fine or be back
hmm
where they need to be because we know the movie that's following this. So although it's interesting to see these guys kind of play off each other a little bit, ultimately none of it matters. It's not like we're
I
worried
agree.
that all of a sudden Darth Vader is going to, amputate off one of Obi-Wan's limbs in a battle or something. Nope, he's going to be fine. We know Leia's going to grow up and be fine. Apparently, forget all about Obi-Wan. So, like, I don't know. I was hoping
I,
this Leia thing would be a much shorter stint in the season, and then Obi-Wan would have a different plot that they could build off of and have some stakes or something to warrant. Which right now I'm just
I
not feeling.
almost don't. I agree with you. I almost don't know what they could possibly do, like, and not in a good way. Like, I don't know what you do to raise the stakes or to make it
There's nothing you can do
entertaining from
now.
here on out.
But here's the thing: there's
Yeah,
2 episodes left apparently. And he's just barely going to probably have enough time to get Leia back home, and then he's going to probably have
Hmm.
one more big confrontation with Vader, and that's it. Like, what else are we going to get out of this at
Do
this
they really
point?
have time to touch on the big reveal in episode 4, spoilers, of what was down beneath the base? Is that ever going to get flushed out as to what that meant was pointing towards? The whole
Probably
like
not.
Vader hasn't been killing the Jedi, he's been collecting them
Mm-hmm.
and amber from the Jurassic Park
Yeah.
franchise. Like like
Life
what
finds a way,
exactly?
man.
Like, yeah, is that what exactly does that mean? He's collecting them? Is he gonna do anything with
I don't
them?
know. I don't know. Are they thinking about trying to make another season of this show? Like, are they trying to, compartmentalize it that much? I thought this was going to be a one-off kind of deal, but now I'm not so sure.
I honestly at this point I don't know what they're going for.
Yeah.
I feel like what they have could have been cool, but again, the way they've gone about and the writing is just it's just kind of I don't want to say dumb, but it's just like it is. It's dumb. A lot of the ways they've gone about how they've kind of done a lot of this. Um and I guess we can go on to 4, right? That
Yeah.
kind of was that's
Our
where it
timer
leads.
only has 3.5 minutes. Just saying.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, we don't have we're good. I actually think it's we still got a whole hour left, so we're good. So I guess what did I have in my notes? There was a couple things I did think were really cool. Getting to see oh, I forgot his name. What was his name? Christensen? What's his name?
Hayden.
Hayden Christensen. Yeah, getting to see him for like a very split second. Is that all they got him for? Was for that
It
one?
sounds like it. Um,
Was that him?
and
Oh,
man, I don't know if that's worth it. I mean, because here's the thing: you got James Earl Jones doing the voice. I know Hayden's in the suit, so he's the guy walking around. But does that really matter? Like,
he
um,
got paid $20 million to show up and go, hey,
I mean, good for that
I'm
guy. I'm not saying it's not a
yeah.
good deal for him, but it's like I don't know. It just feels like more of now a marketing thing more than anything else. Like, I was hoping there'd be like
Things
maybe
are
a
they,
flashback or something with Hayden. They could have like some extra scenes that would have fleshed out something in the past. Like I don't know. I mean, I'm not
things
sure if
have
that was
been
even needed, but
things have been rough since Jumper, man. He's got a who out there remembers Jumper?
Jumper actually wasn't terrible. It wasn't
I don't
great,
remember.
but
I saw that movie once at a friend's house, and I don't remember anything
it
from
was
that.
forgettable. But anyways, yeah, he feels a little wasted. And I'll be
Hmm.
honest, Ewan McGregor feels wasted right now. Like
He
I know the
does.
show is about him, but what's he's been in the same state now for pretty much all three of these past few
Do you?
episodes.
I'm gonna hate it if they do it. But if this is a one-off, and in the final episode or two they introduce something and decide to spin off of that to a new show, I'm
Mm,
gonna be so angry if they just use this show as a spin-off or something else. Which I
wouldn't surprise me.
That's probably gonna happen.
Well, I know they have what's that next show that's coming up from them? Andor, is that what it is?
Oh, who cares about
Well, I'm
Andor?
wondering if this will lead into it because it's going to be about that time, right? In the next few years after this, you'd get to that part in the timeline, and that gets to this movies, et cetera, et
Movie
cetera.
sucked. What was that? Rogue One or whatever. I think that was the name of the movie with Andor.
Mm-hmm.
Eh, I don't care.
No, I'm with you.
But I guess we'll go into episode 4. Let's see. What did I see? Oh, I guess right off the bat, I kind of really liked the tank scene between Obi-Wan and Vader. Like when he's like recouping and he's kind of seeing what kind of Vader had to go through, I guess, for a minute.
Which
I thought that
scene?
was interesting. At the very beginning of episode 4, when he is recovering from his burns, she puts him in a vat
Oh yeah,
of
the
some sort of healing
tank scene. I
gel
get what you're saying. Yeah,
in
yeah,
a
yeah.
tank,
I'm with you.
and like he starts to kind of like see what Vader or
They were drawing the parallels there.
Anakin,
Yeah.
the parallels. I thought that was kind of cool for a split second, but then immediately after that, it was like some of the dumbest writing. Like right off the bat with this episode, like I noticed it. There's I have it right here. Oh, the scene where Obi-Wan, the lady, and Leia go up to, I could tell it was Ice Cube's son, that actor.
Mm-hmm.
I knew him from somewhere. But they go up to him and they're doing all this, and Obi-Wan, it was like the worst line ever. He says, "You have no idea what the Empire is capable of," and I'm like, "What? Like, no, doesn't everyone in this universe know what the Empire is capable of?" Like,
Well,
Aren't they like in control of everything?
they are. I mean, I don't. It sounds like at this point they haven't showed themselves to be like the true evil empire. They're doing some evil stuff. Oh, our timer just went off. We still going?
We're almost done. We gotta have a couple
All
more
right,
talking
fine. Well,
points.
that'll at least be our cue then. It sounds like the empire is not fully like full on evil to everybody's knowledge yet. Like they're doing evil stuff, but like the one guy Freck was like, it's kind of nice to have someone give control. Like some people are probably still like in an acceptance phase. So I don't know. It might be still just early on, but I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, I didn't think. I don't know. Just some of the conversations, and even just like you said, it's even just how the dialogue is like done. It felt weird and just I don't know. I feel like the writing immediately in this episode kind of threw me off.
No.
Trying to think, where did they go after that? I guess they went immediately into the plan, right?
Yeah.
Because they recruited those two fighters or people, the drivers or whatever, and then they immediately went into their whole plan of like trying to sneak in. Um, I guess just a couple things I had is I thought it was pretty cool to kind of see Obi-Wan throughout the episode, kind of regaining some of his abilities. Like, I don't know. I mean, he kind of does mainly just deflecting, but I kind of like the scene when he saves Leia from that dark room. I mean, that was
Mm-hmm.
kind of neat. But even though it was neat, I mean, it was kind of stupid for. I don't know if you noticed, but he kills the one trooper, and then in the pitch black dark, with the one trooper being killed, the other trooper says, "I got you" or something. There's no escaping, and it's like, dude, you should. That was like the dumbest thing. You're in the dark, and your partner just got killed in front of you. Like,
Yeah.
why are you like throwing down the gauntlet for a Jedi Master? Like, I don't know. I just thought that was
Hey,
kind of
show no
ridiculous.
fear. That's the Stormtrooper motto, right? I don't know.
I guess. I mean, I have no idea. I will also say I was defending Riva, and I still will, but I do think at this point it's just like she kind of sucks a little bit. I mean, she's not.
She's fine.
Again, I'm not saying oh she's bad enough of the hate that she was getting. Absolutely not. But I'm saying she hasn't been great. I think that's the problem is that a lot of the not just her like I think the writing is just poor like for her character in certain parts and I don't know some things feel kind of like
Well, here's the
samey
thing:
and
we haven't
contrived.
gotten a lot of background for her, anything to make us really like what's her real motive behind this. Like, I'm trying to almost draw like comparisons to like what is it, Jedi Fallen Order, where they kind of were teasing some background stuff about that Inquisitor who was chasing you down because she was another sister, right?
She was the
So
third sister, I think,
yeah, and they were
or was
always
it second sister? I don't know.
one of the numbers. But the point is, like, they were dropping little tidbits on there was some relationship with your current little master lady, or there was something going on. Like, there was something more interesting about her character that you may didn't know it yet, but there was like
Hmm.
an interest to want to know what was motivating her. I haven't seen that with Riri yet. She's mad, she wants power, and that's all I really get from her. Unless I'm missing something. Like I'm sure there is a backstory there. There's some motivation, but they haven't done a lot to help me really care about that. I'm not saying that's even the actor's fault. That's the writers not giving her the right information to relay or the right relationship with people to have. Like it
I
just
think
feels
what they're
lacking.
getting, I think what they're getting at is, um, I guess technically, I think at the time when Order 66 happened, I'm guess this is all just me guessing. I think technically Obi-Wan was probably the highest ranking Jedi, even though no, I guess Yoda technically still was around at that time too. But maybe Obi-Wan was like I don't know. Again, the whole thing is that she and her all of her youngling friends were killed,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they were expecting Obi-Wan. Maybe Obi-Wan was on that planet at the time. Maybe Obi-Wan they were just expecting him to come save them, and he never did, and that's why her hate is for Obi-Wan
And
is
that's a real
because
crappy motivation if it is. I mean, I'm not. I know you're just kind of speculating here, but okay, that's a
she hates him for not saving her. I don't know.
but that's something that as an adult, if you took a step back from and thought about, you shouldn't be holding that kind of grudge. I don't think. I mean, granted, people hold grudges about a bunch of random stupid stuff, but there's not a big enough thread there, I think, to really be a good meaty motivation.
Well, I'm sure the
Unless Obi
argument.
Wan was like directly, in charge of that set of younglings. I don't know, or had a direct tie there because. We saw Obi-Wan in the whole last set of movies. That was not his job. His job was to train
Mhm.
Anakin. He had missions he went on. So Why would it be his responsibility to come back and save the younglings more than any of the other Jedis? Now, she might be mad at just Jedis in general, and I could understand that. Like, the
Yeah,
Jedis
that's
were
what I was gonna
supposed to
say.
protect us, kind of thing, and they let us down, let all my friends die, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, that still wasn't the Jedi's fault. She saw the Empire at that time, the Republic before they were the Empire, come and slaughter everyone. They saw it as she
Mhm.
saw who was at fault, if that's the case, if she was one of these younglings or young Jedi's.
Well, I think what
So
they'll do is they'll use the whole framework of Vader got a hold of her immediately after that and indoctrinated her into thinking Obi-Wan or somebody could have saved them. That's what I'm guessing. You know what I mean?
if
Or maybe
so,
tortured or
I feel
something.
like that's going to be a really poor way to tie her into this. Like, that's not, I think, a tight enough stake or a tight enough relationship for me. It's because it's forced. Like, I don't know. I'll wait and see. I know we're kind of speculating here, so it's really hard to say. But
Hmm.
as of this point, there's not enough connecting a motivation to what she's trying to do with me caring about what she's trying to do, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I don't think the acting is straight up bad across the board by
It's
anybody,
not.
but it's just fine at the best. Nothing's really stood out as, oh, that was a really cool performance, or that was a really cool
It just
scene
feels
or
like bad
thing.
writing. That's all it
It
is. To
feels
me, it
like
is bad
forced,
writing.
contrived writing that isn't fleshed out, maybe where it should be. And I don't know if it's just you, but these episodes feel short to me. Maybe it's because I just
The
came
last one
off.
was like 35 minutes.
I mean, maybe it's because I just came off watching Stranger Things, which some of their episodes are like an hour and a half long, so it's not a fair comparison. But even though I know they're doing a lot of things in the episodes, it ends and I feel like nothing happened. I don't know, or not enough
First
happened to
three
push it
episodes were
along.
all like 45 minutes or over, and then the fourth episode was like 35. It's like, dude, why are they all not the same length? Why are they all different length? You know what I mean? It's really
Yeah, and then
weird.
here we only have two more episodes. Just doesn't give me a lot of confidence they're going to wrap it up well. All right, we should move on.
Mhm.
Our timer went off way too long ago, and my
Uh,
goal is to push us forward.
Oh,
So
I just wanted to say one more thing. Seeing as how bad the show has been at this to this point, something small I guess I kind of wanted to see would have been like some sort of scene between Leia and Vader, even though I'm not quite sure how that would have worked. At least like something small, like maybe if Vader had seen her and just was like,
that's gonna get tricky because here's the
it
thing:
would.
they can sense each other, and you would think that he would be able to sense this force sensitive child, and I mean that I think just causes potential more lore issues. Like the way he freaking found out about Leia in the first place is Luke just thought about her. So honestly, I'm a little worried now that he's going to get around Obi-Wan while he's thinking about Leia and read Obi-Wan's mind and be like, oh,
Yeah.
and that just opens up a whole nother can of worms as far as lore being messed up. So I don't know. I think keeping him and Leia away is the safe bet without butchering any of the future continuity. I don't know. I'm slowly losing hope for this show.
The
Which,
only
go ahead.
the only cool things for this whole show for me so far have been Ewan and Vader. Like the fact that James Earl Jones is back. Like every time Vader shows up, it's like
That's
that's
not enough for
awesome.
me. Not
But
enough for me.
it's not enough though. Like it's like watching the whole Rogue One movie and just to get to that final 20 minutes again, like that movie, it's like
Maybe it's because Disney's already played this too many times with the nostalgia hits, like, hey, here's that character you like. Oh, here's this character you
hmm
like. But I've now seen them butcher a lot of the characters I like. I mean, they did that with Luke, and that was probably I think, the biggest knife in the back as far as how they handled that character. So, I don't have a lot of confidence in how they handle these nostalgic characters. So just seeing them doesn't even work
hmm
for me anymore. I want to see them handled well if they're going to bother bringing him back. And not that they've done anything overly terrible with him yet, but they also haven't done anything overly great with him yet. It's just like, especially if it's only 6 episodes and all we get out of this is another quick confrontation with Obi-Wan and Anakin, that I don't think that warranted whatever this production cost to do. Like, could have left it in a book. So,
Yeah,
or a
it
mini
is
movie.
it just kind of sucks knowing that like I guess I just I don't really care now about the final two episodes. I feel like they kind of blundered it up a little bit and I'm just like I'll watch it, but I certainly am not like super tantalized in finding out how they're gonna. Cause again, I don't know how they're gonna end it. They, you
There's
know,
no thread pulling me to anything. Because once again, no
nope.
stakes for what they're doing right now. Like the whole Leia thing, is going to resolve and be fine. So what are they pulling you towards in this show? Like another confrontation with Obi-Wan and Anakin? Okay, fine. But what is that even going to do? What is that going to be? Clearly, they're trying to set up something with Riva, but once again, there's nothing being really, kind of poised there as far as what that motivation is. So that's going to
Mhm.
drop last minute and feel like, okay, it's going to feel kind of rushed by the time they actually do explain what her motivation was. Unless she's been dropping a lot of hints and I'm an idiot and the writers are a genius and I'm not catching on. But right now, it just feels wasted. This whole thing just feels like wasted potential. But
I
that's my
agree,
last statement.
but yeah, that's my last statement. So, that's kind of our thoughts on Obi-Wan once again. I enjoyed the first two. We'll see where it goes from here. I'm hoping they can stick the landing with the last two. Hopefully, they're longer than the 30 minutes on the last one, but I don't know. We will see. Check back in maybe next week. I don't know. When's it? I don't
They
even know
drop
when the
on
next episode
Wednesdays.
comes out. Wednesdays? Okay. All right.